Yeah, when you talk about change, everyone just wishes that something happens just immediately. But for every working country, change begins with first an idea, an ideology, and then the action comes in place. Well, that is all with the leadership hub, justice and economic advancement is about in the last 1 year. The organization has been working behind the scenes to ensure that Nigeria becomes a working country again. Well, it is all about pushing for better democratic principles and encouraging advancement in all facets of the Nigerian social, economic, and political space. While in LJE, the idea began with just one man whose singular aim is to see that Nigeria democracy moves from what is perceived to be, well, a little bit draggy democracy, or perhaps what people would say has not been working since the inception of the Fourth Republic in 1999. Now, the whole objective is entrenching democracy in Nigeria and protecting the human rights through the reformation of the Nigerian judicial system. Well, this idea of LJE is not just about this. It is also looking at advocating for better economic advancement and encouraging objectivity and transparency in the Nigerian social, political, and economic system through our ministries, agencies, and parastatals of government. It is all about, reducing corruption, ensuring that we become a people who are driven by one precept, which is unity. Well, that is not all it is about. I have with me right now the man behind the projects, the man who is visionary and who dreams of a better Nigeria. He is the president of the Leadership Hub, Justice and Economic Advancement, LJE Nigeria. He is the president of this initiative, an organization that is well over or will be clocking 1 year in less than a few weeks from now. He is Barrister Samuel Meme, a legal practitioner, as you do know, a political gladiator, and an analyst, and then a Nigerian watcher, someone who watches out for what Nigeria should be and not what it should have been. Well, good to have you join us in the studio.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. Good morning, viewers and Nigerians. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, and also very good to have you here. Like I did say, it's been an eventful ride.
Absolutely.
No organization, grow into becoming what it is perceived to be until the work is put in. It is one thing to have a dream. It is another thing to marshal out the objectives of that dream. And then it is another thing again to ensure that such a dream becomes a reality. Could you take us through the journey so far?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. And I want to thank Nigerians and members of LJE, particularly the volunteers and the executive members of LJE, both within Nigeria and outside the country, and those who have been supporting us over about 1 year now. We've been in this commence our activities. It's been a great journey, I must tell you. We have traversed for the past 1 year. It has been a work in progress, and this is because understanding the system that we find ourselves in Nigeria, and they're trying to, provide certain solution and to assist the system. Oftentimes, you want to help, you want to provide solution, but you're not even given the opportunity. But you have to, because you are determined to do what is right. You are determined to add value to the system. you must continue to do what you have to do, because this has to do with the system, the aims and objective of the organization. As you know, LJE, Leadership Hub, just an economic advancement, is actually membership-driven organization, and the agenda is basically on the tripartite angle, which is the leadership, the justice, and the economic advancement for Nigeria and for prosperous Nigeria. On the angle of leadership, we are focusing on leadership advocacy, trying to push the narrative to the right system, because oftentimes you find out that one of the challenges we have in this country, people always refer, has to do with leadership issues in this country. And when you talk about leadership in this country, people will think that leadership is only for those who are occupying certain positions. But in the real sense, leadership goes round. Even when you are not occupying position, you are also a leader. Whether you are unemployed or you are an employer of labor, you are also a leader. So what does it mean for someone to lead? And what does it take for someone to lead? What is the right attitude? The attitudinal change, having the right social orientation to project yourself to do the right thing at every given time. So we take it from different angle. On the area of leadership angle, the leadership advocacy, we are pushing for the total leadership change in this country, understanding the fact that one of the challenges we're having is inability to have the right set of leaders to take us through the journey to prosperity. On the justice angle, we understand Nigeria is a country where there have been some sort of we are lacking justice, adequate justice. So beyond the courtroom justice, beyond the prosecutorial justice, a lot of people cannot afford the cost of justice in a real sense. So we provide access to justice for those who cannot afford the cost of justice through the Organizational Justice Department. And we are also making case for the judicial reform. And we understand there are so many challenges around the judiciary, ranging from the issue of delay in justice delivery, and ranging from the issue of convenient and comfortable judicial environment for them to discharge their duties. We are pushing towards the direction where we can have a working justice system. On the area of the economic advancement, we are looking at the science behind manufacturing, science behind production, training, skills acquisition, and all of those things. We have started with a number of programs, and we are moving towards different direction in trying to see how we can assist young Nigerians and to support them in the area of skills acquisition and so many other things. So it's quite a large project. I may not be able to, give details by details as for what we have done and what we are doing so far.
Well, it's a fleshed up project. But for the sake of this conversation, we will take them one after the other. Now, you have mentioned a number of things, and I must say that the organization is doing a whole lot in regards to improving the lot of Nigerians. But then, you spoke specifically on reorientation, and then I'm forced to ask, do you not find it a little difficult reorientating the minds of Nigeria, especially in subjects that has to do with leadership? Now, we do know the principles of leadership. Now, just supposing that with the current leadership in Nigeria, or the leaderships we have had over the years and decades, what modalities are you putting in place, or how do you intend to reorientate Nigerians? Because it is one thing to talk, it is another thing to walk the talk. So how are you walking the talk?
You see, when we talk about this leadership issue, I do not want us to look at it from the angle of government, because the issue of social orientation has to cut across all aspects: social orientation, behavioral procedure, and all of those things by the citizens. And I am a businessman, and you find out even on the area of creating of profits, we did a study and about how profits are appropriate or apportioned in Europe, for instance, in America, in Asia. The cost of production, the cost of manufacturing, or the cost of acquiring a particular item to be resold. Usually they appropriate approximately about 12% of the total cost, for instance. So it therefore means that if you purchase a goods for worth 5,000 naira and you want to sell, most likely you're going to add 10% of 12% of the purchase, which means that the goods worth 5,000 naira approximately total cost, you'll be selling approximately about maybe 5,600 naira, having 600 naira as profits. But the mindset of an average Nigerian does not reflect that. An average Nigerian will want to buy a goods for 5,000 and want to sell for 7,000 and 8,000 as the case may be. So all of these things in any way triple down the issue of increase of price of items, or whatever we can call it, inflation. Now, on the area of the leadership angle, we know that in every system is driven by leadership, in the sense that people would follow the steps of the leaders. But again, it is the system that produces their leaders. So advocating for leadership change, in this time we are having issues of institutional leadership deficits. So how do you channel that? How do you get Nigerians to be involved in leadership change? It's through voting. A lot of Nigerians are already frustrated about whether they should be involved in the issues of Nigeria or they should just lay back and continue with their private business. Many Nigerians are now concentrating more on their private business, neglecting the main issue, which is the advocacy, leadership advocacy. Leadership advocacy simply means that you have to be involved. You have to be an active participant, active citizenship. So every Nigerian must begin to understand that one way to go is to become an active citizenship of this country. It therefore means that you must be involved in day-to-day activities. You must be involved in leadership change. You must be involved to understand what are the principles guiding the leadership change in this country, particularly in the area of voting. It is not easy to carry out social orientation on Nigerians because many people are frustrated. But when you take it down to the leadership of this country, and also even carrying out social orientation on the leadership of this country, for instance, where budgeted projects have been made and such projects are diverted by government officials. So it's find a way of discouraging the citizens to do the right thing. So coming about the social orientation simply means that, look, we must begin to understand that we have a responsibility, individual responsibility, collective responsibility, and government responsibility. So the social organization cuts across all these aspects to see how we can begin to do the things right. So you bring it down to leadership advocacy, recognizing that everyone is a leader. It material whether you are working in an organization or in a company, or you are elected officials of the government. You are a leader. You have to take decisions on a go. So how do you take your decisions that will in any way form some level of sincerity and also considering the other citizens? All these things fall within the social reorientation. Again, I remember we did several letters to the national orientation agencies. Of course, up to this time, we did not get any response. We also wanted to assist these agencies of government because we understand that they have so much responsibility by the reason of the establishment of such an agency.
You made a relevant point, which is the fact that when it comes to leadership or changes social behaviors, it does not lie just on the shoulders of the government. The people, the citizenry have got a role to play. And of course, that is where your organization comes in. Now, for not a few persons, while wait on the government, when you could actually begin from the letter, which is, dovetailing this or taking it down, breaking it down to the community level. How far have you gone in working with schools Because for every leader, like you have said or pioned to, you did say that every individual is a leader.
Absolutely.
So if every individual is a leader, it just shows that as young persons, leadership should be thoughts and then further entrenched as we grow. So are you making any efforts through your organization to seeing that a young generation, through the curriculums, are embedded with the leadership qualities?
Absolutely. We are doing a lot. We've carried out a lot of programs around our schools. And currently, we have a project currently going on, and we have written to the various ministries of education, the state ministries. We have written to the Minister of Education, and we are even having a visit to the EFCC.
Okay.
We designed a program called Education as a Means of Solving the Corruption in our system. So we have designed a curriculum, and we're trying to see how we can work with the anti-graft agencies, particularly the EFCC and the ICPC, and the ministries and the major stakeholders around our schools. Now, what this advocacy aspect is of two angles. One, we are pushing for policy change around the educational system to include anti-corruption subjects, starting from primary 6. So that subject is going to be a standalone subject where we'll be taught practical history and corruption in our schools, starting from primary 6, down through all the secondary school and through the university. So this course is going to be a mandatory subject for the university, for the secondary school and the primary school.
Are you not worried that this course may also overshadow the already existing courses on civic education?
No, the civic education, we are not, we've looked at the curriculum under the civic education, even the general studies being run by the universities. Look, we have identified that one of the major challenges we're having in this country is corruption. Beside the issue of leadership deficit, we have the issue of corruption. And corruption has really affected this country beyond imagination. So in order for us to tackle this, we believe that many of us who are older, it will be difficult for anyone to convince our age right now, for some persons anyway. So we have to take this to the schools, to the primary schools, to the secondary schools, and down to the university. Now, this is to re-echo this issue down in the mind of our young generation, so that they will begin to understand that what is corruption? Corruption is not only when you give and take. Corruption begins when you abuse your office, when you abuse your privileges given to you, when you have a responsibility to carry out and you fail to carry out. It's corruption. When you have a responsibility to carry out and you fail to carry it out, or you carry it out in a way to the detriment of the general public, then that is also corruption. So the young generation must begin to understand these principles and continue to digest these principles, so that when they grow older, when they begin to handle responsibilities, they will now choose whether they want to go the other way around or live according to the procedures. That is how a nation grows. Every nation you see prospering, there's a level of sincerity of purpose on the part of the citizens and on the part of the government. So this anti-corruption subject we are introducing, like I mentioned, is of two angles. The angle is for the curriculum change. This one it is the Ministry of Education and the various Ministry of Education by the states will have to alter their curriculum to accommodate the subjects and make it compulsory.
How far have you gone on that?
Yeah, we have done letters to virtually all the state governments.
What's the level of success?
Of course, the typical Nigerian system, we did to the EFCC, because while we are waiting for the curriculum change and waiting for the policy change, we believe that we can start doing something. So we made reference to we did a letter to the EFCC, because we have our team, our members cut across the federation. So they are called the Green Community. So they are willing to assist the commission, and they want a partnership with the commission for us to move from schools to schools and to educate these young people, particularly the secondary school students. So this automatically would also make them give an opportunity to understand what corruption is all about. This corruption must be taught in our schools. Until we begin to teach our young ones, the younger generation, what corruption is all about, it will be difficult for us to scale through.
Absolutely. So why I see this initiative as laudable, commendable as well, there are some school of thought who feel that it just does not stop with the pupils and students in schools and even in our tertiary schools. However, you could also look at other aspects of the economy that makes up the Nigerian economic system. Now, how well have you been able to liaise or partner anti-corruption agency? Of course, you talked about the EFCC going to the EFCC, but it does not just stop there. The ministries, how responsive are the ministries and the paramilitary agencies, including the military?
It is quite unfortunate because, like I mentioned to you, when you want to help, you want to assist the system. Unfortunately, our government agencies, beyond the political office holders, the elected office holders, I think the civil servant is one of the major problems we are having in this country. We've done series of letters trying to, provide solutions and assist various agencies. We are collaborating a lot with private sectors. On the area of the government sectors, you do letters and nobody responds to you. I think they're more interested in the political aspect of the system, and it becomes very, very difficult for us to, because you have to write, you have to see how you can collaborate and assist the system to work. But when they receive these letters, they don't respond.
What's your
and
motivation?
some other time, when they finally call you to see how they can work with you, they tend to be asking for money.
Corruption.
Yes. So that is the biggest issue we're having right now, and we hope on our parts as an organization, we have decided to do what we have to do, and by supporting the individuals and people directly.
So apparently, the systemic corruption or epidemic in our system, in our agencies, government agencies, parastatals, and even private sector, has been like an encumbrance to most of your objectives. So how have you been able to marry all of this? What has been your driving force? And has there ever been a time when you felt like giving up?
Well, each time the thoughts comes, like, because sometimes you get frustrated, really, I must tell you. You get frustrated because you have your dreams. You have a dream you must keep up, and you have to keep it up no matter what happens. But when you look back and realize how bad it is in this country, you get more inspired to do. For me, and for many of our team, on the economic advancement of the organization, we look at why is it that this country is not moving forward in the area of manufacturing and production. Why can't we teach our young Nigerians, our young people, on how they can be useful beyond just going to the university and
Become self-sufficient.
Yes. And when you look at some of the things we make use of in this country, both in the area of the ICT, in the area of even furnitures and the rest of them, laptops, phones. In some other African countries, like in South Africa, they are manufacturing a lot of things, including electronic gadgets. But in Nigeria, there is nothing like ICT manufacturing or production. And this actually inspired us so many ways. Like, what can we do as an organization? How can we, and that is why the organization is driven by membership. So we have a community called the Green Community, where we allow the members to participate in our programs, particularly in the area of trainings. And of course, recently now we have more international partnership where we can train our young people.
Well, before we delve further to this leg of the conversation, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we continue. Do stay.
Camera rolling. Light set. Sound check. And action.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's program, a program where we get to talk
custody.
about the
Program
daily
where lawyers
dissect legal issues with intent to educate.
This is the perfect space to create professional quality videos, recording news, podcasts, and all media content. With top-of-the-line cameras, studio lighting, soundproof spaces, we provide everything you need for a seamless shoot. Our fully equipped studio ensures high-quality production every time. Enjoy a comfortable, air-conditioned environment with professional-grade gear and expert support. Contact us now or visit our Abuja location to reserve your spot.
Camera rolling. Light set. Sound check. And action.
Hello everyone, welcome
sole
to
custody
today's
matter.
program, a program where we
Also
get to talk
custody.
about the
Program where
daily
lawyers
dissect
are
legal issues with intent to educate.
This is the perfect space to create professional quality videos, recording news, podcasts, and all media content. With top-of-the-line cameras, studio lighting, soundproof spaces, we provide everything you need for a seamless shoot. Our fully equipped studio ensures high-quality production every time. Enjoy a comfortable, air-conditioned environment with professional-grade gear and expert support. Contact us now or visit our Abuja location to reserve your spot.
Well, it's still Leadership Dialogue podcast on LJE Nigeria TV. Remember that you can always be part of our conversation, and of course through also be part of our journey so far. It is LJE at 1. Now, in a few weeks from now, the Leadership Hub, Justice and Economic Advancement program would be one. It's been 1 year of an eventful journey. It's been 1 year of advocating for justice reform, for advocating for an entrenching, for advocating the entrenchment of democracy in Nigeria, and of course, also talking about the creating an enabling environment for social, political, and economic advancements in the country. Well, my guest is still here in the studio, and before we went on that break, we were talking about technological improvements. You know, world over, the world has advanced. The world is driven by technology. We are in an era where everything has been globalized and, further compressed into a global village. So, but when you look at the advancement we see with the Western countries vis-a-vis what we see in African countries, especially in Nigeria, one begins to wonder. Every other year, every other fiscal year, through the budget, you see some money allotted for digital advancement, technology, but we are not seeing that. How has the LJE as an organization been able to, speak to the conscience of the government on why and how technology can be improved in Nigeria?
It is very difficult to really get the attention of this current administration and this current government we have. And this is so because I do not think they have the vision for technological advancement of this country at this stage. And one thing they fail to realize is that this aspect would naturally create job opportunities for Nigeria. There is no how for every nation to move forward. The government must pay attention to the things that matters. If you are paying attention to things that matters to the politicians alone, the country can never move forward. And that is what we are experiencing over the years in this country. You cannot run a system where everyone, we are all carrying phones and there is no manufacturing, phone manufacturing company in Nigeria. Then the question is, what does it really take to bring in some of these innovative opportunities to the country? And it can only be done through government efforts. Because we have so many challenges and they are paying more attention to the political issues, then the economic issues are relegated to the backside. So trying to work things around with the government in other clans, when you have such an organization who are ready to work with the government, they accept and they tend to listen to what you have. But in Nigeria, the guys over there, they are a completely different set of people. So whatever budget that is made to carry out even the little one they're supposed to do, we cannot even see the reality. So for us as a system, we have made a lot of efforts to see how we can align with some of the government agencies to also provide solution. In the case of, we have a program we are championing, which is Operation Free the Bush, Operation Restrict the Movement of Cattle in Nigeria. And categorically, we have sent letters to different state governments, even requesting for them to give us land in the trouble areas that we want to farm. We have written to the governments and trying to provide certain solutions. We understand what is going on in Benue, that is as a result of the anti-open grazing law signed by the governor, who did not provide the necessary modalities to protect the people that led to the crisis. And we are doing so many things in that regard. But answering your question as per what the government ought to do and how they can listen to dissenting opinion to see how they can improve on their government. I'm not saying the government. They are in the government. If the government is good, if the government is able to solve problems and provide solutions, it is to their credit. But when you try to assist or provide certain solutions, you find out that not as if you are even asking them for money, just to collaborate. They don't even want anything that would affect their method of operation, which is not in any way yielding fruit to the system. So on our own, we have decided to work around the membership of the organization and the volunteers to provide certain solutions among ourselves, creating a system which we call the Green Community, is a community within the community of Nigeria, and also extending the opportunities to Nigerians at large to see how we can foster an economy-based organization for us to move forward.
I do also know, just as we wind down this conversation, that one of the major problems organizations like yours face is funding. Not a few Nigerians will want to know how you were able to come up with funds needed to drive this process, because it's not free.
Indeed, it's actually one of the greatest challenge, funding. But these are the areas we have to keep to our chest, because we must find a way within the system to fund our programs. But we are very much open to collaborations and partnership. But at the same time, we must begin to do what we can do within the community-based organization.
Well, we must sincerely thank you for your time. Of course, would have this conversation again. But precisely, when will LJE turn one? Nigerians want to know.
Yeah, LJE will be one on the 30th of September, 2025.
On the 30th of September,
yes.
2025.
So we are marking our anniversary by organizing a national conference on the security of Nigeria. Particularly, we are pushing for Operation Restrict the Movement of Cattle in Nigeria.
Is
Because
it a virtual conference or
No,
a hybrid conference?
it's an hybrid conference, and we are holding this conference here in the heart of Abuja. It's a 2 days national conference, 30th of September and on the 1st of October this year.
Is the conference like every other conference?
No, this
Are there objectives you intend to push? Because it appears this conference is coinciding with the Independence Day celebration of Nigeria.
Yes, because incidentally, our anniversary falls within on the 30th of September, and this national conference would definitely lapse to the 1st of October. But what this simply means is that we want to discover solutions on how we can run things in this country. We understand that one of the major problems we have discussed a lot of problems. And we are not just discussing problems, we have solutions to these problems. And the issue of what appears to be the greatest challenge we have now is the issue of security of life, security of property, security of the farmlands, and the security of the farmers. You cannot run a system in a country where farmers cannot farm. And you have another set of people who are doing their business, the cattle raiders, now destabilizing the critical aspects of our economy. So, because the farmland alone is a hub of economic advancement for this country. If you have people going to farm, if you have farmers having access to their farmlands, they plant their crops, they come back the following day and make their crops, and you will see that young Nigerians will be motivated to go into farming. So how do you tackle the challenges that has to do with the farmers? Because they call it farmers elders clashes. But we don't call it farmers elders clashes, we call it elders intimidation against farmers. So you see, like a state like Benue, where you have which is known to be the food basket of the nation, now being chased away.
Is headers intimidation against the farmers? Is that what you're saying? Or is it all centered around security?
No. It's basically, it has to do with the securing of the farmlands and what are the procedure to secure these farmlands. It goes beyond making the declaration or signing these laws, the anti-open grazing laws. We must realize that there should be an enforcement mechanism. You must protect the community, because it's an age-long practice that the herders move their cattle from one place to another. So when you are restricting the movement of cattle from one place to another, you must definitely expect a reprisal attack from these herders. So what method can you put in place to ensure that when this declaration begins to happen from different states of the federation, that there will not be reprisal attacks to kill people just the same way they are killing people in Benue and other parts of the country?
Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will be looking forward to that conference. And I think it's an innovative one that has not been hammered so much on, even though the Minister of Defense is currently advocating for, an open or grazing system in Nigeria. So apparently we look forward to a fruitful conversation, and of course we look forward to a formidable policy that would help Nigeria tackle its security challenges. Well, we've been speaking with the president of the Leadership Hub, Justice and Economic Advancement, LJE Nigeria, Barrister, or should I call you Doctor? Barrister Samuel Meme. He's been our guest, and of course we shall be having Barrister Meme back here in the studio just as we get closer to the main day. Barrister Meme will be walking us through the real things, and step by step. Probably that time we would be breaking it down. Maybe we could take the justice, for instance, and then we go to economic advancement, and then we go to judicial reforms, because we want to see firsthand the achievements of LJE Nigeria. I want to see, and I'm sure you also want to see, that the organization is not just sleeping, but walking behind the cameras assiduously to ensuring that you sleep well at night and also wake up to the Nigeria you dreamed of. Remember that you can always be the change that you wished for. The man in the mirror is me, and the man in the mirror is you. we would all work together to see this work. It's been an eventful conversation, of course.
Thank
I
you.
will most sincerely thank you for your time.
Thank you
with
very
us.
much for having me. And I want to say thank you very much to all LJE members across the world. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
pleasure.
Remember that you can always be part of this conversation. All you need to do is like, subscribe to our page, and also drop your comment on our social media handles at LJE Nigeria on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and as well as Twitter. We are all present and we're ever ready to hear your complaints and also work with you. Until we come your way again, it is the Leadership Dialogue Podcast. I am Chikot Nakadili. Bye for now.